Welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we're gardening here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today I am dealing with the aftermath of some very significant damage from the local deer population. Let's talk about how deer can affect your garden and what you might be able to do about it. Now, I live in Baltimore City. We're only 4 miles from the downtown heart of Baltimore City, and between us and downtown, it's an urban area. It's crazy to think about North American white-tailed deer living in the city, but they do. And we have deer throughout our neighborhood all 4 seasons, and sometimes they're more damaging to our gardens than others. This year, I have noticed that inside our backyard fence, the deer have not yet, so far, ventured into the fence. Now, our fence is only 4 feet tall. It would be, just a hop, skip, and a jump for those deer to come on in and make a salad out of anything they find in the backyard. So far, they haven't, but they have come really close. And so far, they have done a lot of damage in the garden, in the front yard, the side yard, the backyard, and everywhere that they find something tasty, they are taking advantage of it. This morning I walked out to walk the dogs and I noticed some incredibly disappointing damage in my front yard. But look what they've done. This is the yellow knockout rose. This is the one that I said I didn't like and that I wanted to take out. So I'm not heartbroken about it, but look how much damage they've done. They've eaten leaves and stems down to the nubs. Really. Look at that. It's just amazing. This rose is pretty thorny, but I guess if a deer is hungry enough, they will eat it. There's another one of the yellow ones over here. This particular shrub took damage on one side, but they left this part. So this is the kind of thing that they were eating, this new sprouts of growth and even some of these older stems and leaves and things. This is the kind of stuff they were eating from over here. The fairy rose that's in between them was undamaged. They didn't take anything off of it that I can see. Oh wait, maybe right here they took a little bit. Yep, okay. But they left these new buds. These are nice and tender and green and looks like they would be yummy if I were a deer. But they left them. But let's look back over here. This is heartbreaking. This is my incredible hydrangea. It is completely defoliated. I think they left 10 leaves, maybe. I don't know, I'm not gonna count them. But yeah, that is a heartbreak right there. Mexican petunias got topped. See the tops of those got eaten? Let's get the focus to go. There we go. All 3 of those plants had the same thing happen to them. And then, let's see. Guess what this used to be? There's my cucumber plants. We've gotten about 5 cucumbers off of this plant this year. And we're not going to be getting any more, I don't think. So I can live with the cucumber and the yellow knockout rose being eaten. And even if they got onto my fairy rose, I could live with that. But man, that incredible hydrangea, I am so sad about that. We had 4 stems that had buds on them. This is a brand new plant that I mail ordered this year and I put it here, I want to say 4, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, not really long ago. And it was coming along and it was going to give us late blooms this season. And I know the plant is not dead. I know that it's just received a hard prune out of season and it will recover. But I really am so sad that hydrangea took so much damage. On this side of the front yard, back over here, the deer ate this about a week ago. That was a Hosta lancifolia, one of the common green ones that we have. Ate it down to the ground, so I just already cleaned that up a little bit. And over here, these are halcyon hostas, or they're at least the root balls of halcyon hostas. And the deer, oh my gosh, look at this. Okay, so they came through about 5 days ago and ate a bunch of leaves. And so I came out and I cut back to the ground all the stems that they had eaten, and I left the stems that still had leaves on them. And so last night they came through and ate the rest of the leaves. And so now there's pretty much no leaves left on this halcyon. I've got 3 of them here and 1 over there. So 5 days ago, when I was cleaning up this deer damage and leaving the leaves that were there, I should have sprayed then. I should have known that if they're this close to the house, right up against the fence, that they are very hungry and that my other plants were at risk. But I didn't do it, and so now I have the damage on the Incredible and the cucumber. Dang it. Over here on the front, the Autumn Joy sedum. Yeah, it's pretty much gone on the front, although it appears that they don't really care for the blooming flowers. At least so far they've left them alone. But they did take the buds off of the front of the plant. They didn't find the echinacea back there. That's good news. This fairy rose, did they do that, or was that me pruning? I think that's me pruning. I don't think they've, at least they haven't very much hurt the fairy rose. Good. This is a ruby star echinacea. They did get some of these leaves. Let's check the powwows. Powwow echinacea are still here. Good news. Okay, good. This is one of the double red knockouts, and it looks like the deer took off the fresh new growth right at the ends of some of these tips. Here we are on the south side of the house. This is the area that we don't really do too much gardening in. I may have shown this before. I don't recall if I did or not. But this is a row of hostas here that took 100% complete deer damage. This whole row. I think there's 12 of these along here. Every single one of them got eaten down to the nub. And then this was supposed to be a nice big 4-foot wide hosta. And then all these other hostas in here. Just so damaged from the deer. But this happened a few weeks ago. This has been this way. We're here in the backyard now. This is the fence that fences in the backyard, and here are the stairs up from the driveway. So in the category of the more surprising deer damage this season, we see deer damage right here on this hosta. So I think deer have come up and stood on these steps and eaten those hostas. And we can look up here. These sedum have been eaten. And then up here, this hosta has been eaten. So the deer have definitely been up here in the courtyard area. On this side, yeah, there's some damage right there. Nothing on this end has been eaten, I don't think. It's pretty crazy to me that a deer would walk up these stairs, or maybe they entered from this hillside. I'm not sure. They either walked up the stairs or walked up this hill and came up here into my courtyard garden and started grazing on what they found up here. That's kind of crazy. So, knock on wood, the deer, to my knowledge, have not yet been inside the fence in the backyard this season. Now, 2 seasons ago, we found deer. We came home from being out somewhere, and we walked up these steps and we looked, and there was a deer right over here by the picnic table, and it was eating some of the plants on the back side of the table. And so I know that deer are able and perfectly willing to come inside the fence to get things if they're hungry enough. So what am I going to do about this deer damage? Well, first of all, I am going to move anything that's outside the fence that I definitely don't want to be eaten inside the fence. That Incredible hydrangea out front, it is coming in. I don't know where it's going to go in here. It wants to be in full sun. I don't really have much more full sun available back here, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to give it a home, and I don't know where, but we got to get that in here because it's just too vulnerable out there. Okay, so the other thing is I tend to accept the fact that the deer are here. We share this earth with them. In fact, humans have pushed them out of their normal range. It's kind of the humans' fault that we have deer in the urban areas. So keeping that in mind, you know, those hostas on the south side of the house, those are just those common lancifolia hostas. And I had put them there as a placeholder. It's no skin off my nose if they want to eat those because I'm hardly ever over there. I kind of accept that as a sacrifice to the neighborhood wildlife. However, if I do decide to plant things on the south side of the house, I'm going to make sure that I plant things that are known to be very deer resistant, because if I invest actual money over there, I want to make sure that I'm putting things there that have a fighting chance of living with the deer, not being eaten by the deer. And the last thing is, of course, you can spray or you can put up barriers. There are things you can do in your garden to kind of combat the fact that deer, rabbits, groundhogs, other animals want to eat your plants. There are lots of different kinds of sprays on the market. Some of them are more effective than others, but what I've heard from other people is that you have to kind of change up which spray you're using over the course of the summer, because they will become accustomed to the one that you've been using lately. So maybe the recommendation is to use one kind of spray for a month or so, then switch it up to a different kind of spray so that the smell is different, so that they're a little bit surprised by that and off put by that. Okay, so I definitely want to teach these deer that this fence perimeter is off limits. They do not want to be in my backyard. And the way I'm going to do that to start is, first of all, we do have 2 dogs in our backyard. And I think that between the dogs, they leave their scent, shall we say, in various places around the yard. And of course, they bark and things. So I think that does help keep the deer out of the backyard. But I'm going to be spraying deer repellent on the fence, on the plants in front of the fence, and around the entire perimeter of our fence line. And hopefully that will start to teach the deer that the fence is no good. I'm going to be spraying around the perimeter of my fence today with some deer repellent spray. I'm going to be using this concentrate, which is new to me this year. I've never used it, but it came on the recommendation of Aaron at the Impatient Gardener. This is Deer Stopper 2 concentrate, and this gets mixed in a ratio of 9-to-1, 9 parts water, 1 part mix, or about 13 ounces per gallon. All right, let's see, 26 ounces, about a cup and a half, about a cup and a half. Pretty good. If they're hungry enough, deer will eat anything that they can find, even the things that you've sprayed with repellent. So I'm under no illusion that this is a perfect solution, but I do think that it does help to spray the things I want to keep up near the house. And I let them graze along this wooded south hill all they want. I don't spray over here, except in this one little place by the birdhouse. I don't spray on this side hill, and I let them graze, and I see them grazing there, so I know that is helping them. So maybe we can come to some sort of truce, right? If you guys stay over here, I'll stay over here. Maybe that can work. What do you think? I've sprayed all the flower beds that are up against the house, outside the fence. And I've sprayed the back perimeter of the fence. I have not yet sprayed the side fence that we share with our next door neighbor. And I haven't done anything inside the fence yet. So I have just a little bit of my solution left. I'm going to use up the rest of this solution that I have on the most vulnerable plants inside the garden. In case some brave deer or brave hungry deer comes inside looking for a snack, I will use up this spray on the things that they are most likely to get at. And for me, that means hostas, or heucheras, or hydrangeas. Well, it took me about an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour, to mix up 2 batches of this spray and apply it around the perimeter of our fence and around our foundation flower beds out around the house. That's not a terrible investment, especially if, as the label says, this application will hold for 30 days. That's a pretty impressive promise, so I'm hoping that it stands to be true. Also, on this label, it does not say that you have to reapply after a rain, so that's good news as well. I know some other deer repellent sprays, you have to reapply after it rains or every 2 weeks, whichever comes first. So hopefully this will last a little bit longer, but as you know, the best time to apply a deer repellent is before they eat your plants. The second best time to apply a deer repellent is the morning after you find that they've eaten your plants, so that they don't come back to the salad bar for more. So if I find more deer damage, although I couldn't possibly figure out where they could possibly damage outside the fence anymore, any more deer damage probably will be inside the fence. I hope not. Anyway, if I find more deer damage, I will reapply independent of how many days have passed since today. Do you have deer in your area? Do you fight with animals who eat your plants? I know some of you have gophers or groundhogs or voles and moles or chipmunks and squirrels that dig your stuff up, or what else could there be? Anyway, you let me know, what kind of animals do you have bothering you in your garden, either digging your things up or eating your plants? And also let me know in the comments below how you deal with those. Do you use this repellent? Have you ever used it? This is the Deer Stopper 2. Or do you use something else like liquid fence or another product? And which one has worked for you in the past and which ones do you not recommend? Let me know in the comments below. Let's share with each other and maybe give each other some tips and tricks on how to deal with the animal pests that we have in our gardens. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I love the community that we're building, and I really appreciate your time watching these videos and making comments on the videos and saying hello. It warms my heart to see the kinds of comments that we're getting, and I really appreciate it. And also, I see you guys starting to talk to each other and give each other tips, and that just is wonderful. So let's keep that going and build ever more community. And the best way that you can do that is by liking or sharing or commenting on this video, because that tells YouTube that this is a good video for other people, and they'll show it to more people in the YouTube universe. So thank you again for your time and for your positive vibes and kindness and comments. I hope to see you again in another video very soon. And until then, have a great day in your garden. Bye-bye.